Hi Michelle, I'm going to give you most of the notes just via this video, and then also this video you can play during class today and just pause it where needed and use this as your slides. I figured that would be easier than giving you slides and a video. So this is daily math right away. You're going to have 2 sections of CMP and 1 algebra. I have another algebra video, so hopefully you were able to find that as well. So we'll start with this on the board, and you can freeze the board on the remote there. There's a button that has freeze, so I just freeze that while I'm taking attendance or anything like that. Or you can just pause the video, and I mean, if you don't need to go to anything else, that's fine. So freeze this, and then the answer, if we look, we have 7 pounds at birth, so that sounds like a startup, and then 5 pounds every month. So 7 sounds like a y-intercept, 0.5 sounds like a slope. So our equation would be y equals either 7 plus 0.5x or y equals 0.5x plus 7. And hopefully their graphs and tables reflect that, but I really just wanted to check the equations there. On the quiz, students were asked to talk about John, and you're going to see John again today. He charges $10 right up front for basic expenses and then $4 every hour. So on the graph here, he charges $10 before any hours have been spent on this lawn. The first hour, he will go up $4 more to 14. Second will be 18. Third would be 22. Fourth would be 26. And fifth would be 30. So we have a line there. Should represent our data. Okay, and some of my points are a little off there. But that should be our representing of our data. That's what students should have had. And then our equation there should be either y equals 10, his startup, plus $4 per hour, or y equals 4x plus 10 if we have it in slope-intercept form. All right. Students need to get out their That's My Story homework sheet from Monday is when they receive this. If someone doesn't have it, we have some extra copies up at the front table. Otherwise, just if your partner has it, you can look on with them and go through this. We're going to go over some answers and talk a little bit more about it. It's not important that you correct your answers at all. We're just going to look and have some more discussion about it. So don't bother erasing everything. You're not going to turn this in. It's just we're going to have a quick discussion about it. So the first two were babysitting making $1 an hour and babysitting making $5 an hour. Go ahead and pause the video and talk to your partner about what the differences and similarities are here. All right, you should have realized that $1 an hour has a less steep slope than the $5 an hour. $5 an hour, you're making much more money at a faster rate. You're making money at a faster rate. Similarly to that, if we left money in your checking account and used $10 a month, that line is going to look different than if we were to withdraw $80 a month. So you can see again, pause the video and talk to your partner about the differences and similarities in these graphs. Again, you should have talked about the fact that $80 means you're losing money faster, you're spending your money faster. All right, going to the carnival and spending all your money on the first game. You can see we started with a certain amount of money. On the first game, we went all the way down to no money, and that's where we stayed. This person didn't spend any money, so they just stayed at the same amount of money each time. Go ahead, pause the video and talk to your partner about that one. Similarities and differences. and this one is not linear. I hope that came up. This one is linear because it has a slope of 0. This one has a negative slope and then a slope of 0, and we can't have two slopes. They are both functions, however. For Sally's fixed amount of fencing, this is what your graph should have looked like. If it did, great. If it didn't, that's fine. We're not going to go into this very in much detail because we're going to go into it later in the year. If we are all taking a bus to the to the Mall of America, let's say the bus costs $1,000. If one person goes, it costs $1,000. Two people goes, it costs $500 each. Three people goes, it's going to cost $333.3 each. Four people go, it's going to cost $250 each. Five people go, it's going to cost $200 each, and so on. The difference is getting shorter each amount. So this is called a decreasing decrease. Still a function, not linear. All right, and then the last three, the animals. Monkey had a constant rate of change. Panda was increasing at an increasing rate, and wolf was increasing at a decreasing rate. So those are what your graph should have looked like. If they didn't, that's fine. You can pause the video and have some discussion there if needed. All right, then the next thing we're going to do is called Pictionary Telephone. And if any members of my AA are in here, you might be able to help out the class. We're going to go through this. I have a video clip of it as well, but basically we need to separate into 3 groups. All right, so in the classroom, if you could just make 3 small circles. So desks in circles, depending on how many kids are in the classroom. Put your desk kind of like this so that we have small circles. If there's 20 of you in here or 19, just get into groups of 5 or 6 if we can. 5, 6, 7, just so that there's 3 circles, 1 on each side and then maybe 1 in the back. So you'll have to move desks so that you have that. Then we have a pile of little slips of paper. You're going to need as many slips of paper as there are members in your group. All right, so if you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, if there were 8 members in your group, you need 8 slips of paper. If there were only 5 members in your group, you need 5. All right, so this game is called Telephone Pictionary, and it's basically a mixture of the game Telephone and a mixture of the game Pictionary. Then a game Telephone, you whisper something in someone's ear and you take it all the way around a group and hope that it stays the same. The game Pictionary, you draw pictures of sayings. So how this is going to work is you're going to have a stack of however many pieces of paper that you need. On the first sheet of paper, you are going to write a sentence. This sentence might be silly. It might be something like frogs with large toenails. It might be something true like I love volleyball, or it might be something that you just think of, okay? You're going to write that on the first slip of paper. Then on the next, then you're going to pass that whole stack to the person to your right. Okay, the whole stack goes to the person to the right. So let's say I have a partner, and my partner's name is Katie. I pass my whole stack to Katie. She reads my saying, puts my paper back to the end of the stack, and now draws a picture of my saying. Okay, so the teacher will give you a certain amount of time. Draw a picture when everybody's done. Then, and try to go at the same time here, at the same amount. Don't get ahead of the other group. Then we're going to pass that stack. Katie's going to pass it to the person next to the right of her. And that person is going to look at the picture and draw a sentence, or on the next sheet of paper, write a sentence of what they thought the picture was. Okay? The next person is going to do a picture. The next person is going to do a sentence, so on and so forth, all the way back to you should eventually get your stack back. Okay? When you get your stack back, then you can spread your story out and have everybody look at it, and that'll be great. All right, that's how Pictionary is played. I'll show you a little clip here. Now, after you've played the first round, we're going to give, we're going to put a math twist into it. Okay, this time, regardless of how many people are in your group, you need 3 little sheets of graph paper and 3 little sheets of white paper or notebook paper. If you run out of those little sheets of white paper, you can just use notebook paper. All right? So you need to stack them so it's a graph paper, a notebook paper, graph paper, notebook, graph paper. So your sandwich should have a graph paper on either side. Okay? This time, the first person is going to draw a linear equation and graph it on the first sheet. So let's say I start at 1, and I'm going to make these dots nice and big so that my partner can see what my slope is clearly. Okay, here's my line. And I'm going to draw that, and I'm going to write the equation for it. Y equals 3 halves x plus 1. Now, the next person, so when you do this the same as you did Pictionary Telephone, is going to write a story problem on their piece of paper. Okay? Now, story problem, if you have a slope that's a fraction, maybe this person has $1. So maybe Megan has $1. Okay, and she gets paid only every 2 days. See, I only have a nice point every 2 x values. So maybe she gets paid $3 every 2 days. That would represent a rise of 3 and a run of 2. Rise of 3, run of 2. Or if you want to keep your slopes whole numbers, that might be the easiest way. Okay, so first person, graph and a line or an equation. Second person, word problem. Third person is going to see that word problem and hopefully make the same graph. The next person is going to make another word problem, and the fifth person is going to make hopefully the same graph. All 3 graphs should be the same if we do this correctly. When you're done, you won't have your story problem, but you can lay these out and then go around your group and walk around your desks and try to find yours and see if you guys did a good job of playing the game. All right, when you're done with the game, there are purple review sheets. These are actually your pre-tests that they took at the beginning of this unit. When they're done with their purple sheets, they can work on any of these book problems, or they can quiz themselves or quiz each other on the different skills. So they can make up equations, have them graph them, make tables, have them write equations, do any of this kind of stuff to get them ready for the test. If they're not if they're not actually quizzing themselves, then I suggest they get out book problems and do that. And then that should be CMP.